Alright, for the person that was asking if they were the asshole for asking their girlfriend to pay for half of the abortion cost. Alright? I understand she agreed to paying half. And apparently, with her having no expenses, whatever money she ends up getting, she spends it right away. You said she spends it on food, she spends it on partying, which, by the way, in the meantime, on the off chance weren't able to get to the getting the abortion in time, why the hell is she partying, considering the factor that, obviously cause birth defects if don't get there in a timely manner. That's the way you end up with premature babies, with, birth defects. But listen, I know you want to go ahead and have this fight. You want to be like, it's only right that she pays for half of the procedure, you know? And you said the factor that there's no changing her mind. She wants that abortion. She's going to get that abortion. All right. All right. Obviously that's her decision to be able to make. And if she's that irresponsible with her finances, then, when it comes down to the whole factor of the procedure, just go ahead, cover the cost of the procedure up front with an agreement in writing that she's going to pay back that half. All right? At worst comes to worst, you've covered the full cost of the procedure, and ultimately, you don't end up getting that $500 back. All right? But understand, covering the cost of that abortion once, considering that you've gotten to see the detriment that, her immaturity in the situation has ended up causing. Wouldn't you rather pay that one-time fee of the abortion cost in comparison to paying the monthly child support fee? I mean, think of it. Think of it this way, all right? Think of it as a lump sum, never going to make that stupid decision again fee. All right? In comparison to an 18 year long, I wish I didn't stick my dick in crazy fee. And let me tell you, that 18-year long, I really wish I didn't stick my dick in crazy fee, that shit fucking hurts. All right? Because everybody else in this scenario, they're going to put their 2 cents in. And we're not talking about financially. They're going to go ahead and watch you struggle, watch you fucking drown financially. Go ahead and put every bit of fucking undue burden on you as possible, because be a man, be a man, be a man, be a man. Fuck you, be a man. It takes two to tango. I don't get a choice if conception ends up happening. If for certain circumstances, like, when I was raped, and ultimately it was like, fuck you, still got to deal with the repercussions of being raped anyway, so go fuck yourself. And as a guy in that circumstance, nobody's gonna give a fuck. All right? There's not going to be a single fucking person that feels any sympathy for the factor of what you went through and the amount of trauma that it ends up causing, because of the factor that they don't understand, because they ultimately they ended up having that mentality, that misandristic mentality of, oh, guys can't be raped. And it's that exact mentality that ends up going ahead and causing the issues. Because then it ends up perpetuating a stereotype and its toxic cycle that ultimately has caused damage all the way around. So, I'm telling you once, if she wants to get an abortion, it's not your choice to intercede, all right? If anything, whatever you got to do to get that money up, you get the money for that abortion up. You go ahead and you pay for that abortion, because she chose to get that abortion. And then after that, be done with it. All right? And I can tell you right now, after she gets that abortion, the reality of breaking up whether or not you like it, it really is the best decision. All right. And it's not the best decision of cold callous of, oh, now that I ended up going ahead and, our baby's dead. Now I'm not good enough for you. I was good, how come now this ends up changing things? How come now your perception of me changes? What would have ended up being, why won't you stick with me now? If the baby would have still been alive, we would have still had a relationship. We would have still been together. That would have been our tying bond, you know, not understanding the factor that, after that ends up happening, it's going to go for a lot. It's going to go from, it was my decision to get an abortion because my body, my choice, to then the script ends up getting flipped of, if regret, remorse ends up kicking in, you know, why the fuck did you end up not trying to stop me when I ended up killing our kid? Why did you end up, how would our kid ended up being, if you didn't end up going ahead and standing in my way? Hell, you were pretty quick to go ahead and pull out your wallet, when I wanted to go ahead and kill our baby. How come you're not willing to go ahead and use that same level of, expediency when it comes to trying to work on your own personal issues while completely denying their own issues? you know. But obviously, the mourning process and everything ends up happening. Not to mention that, but you're obviously going to end up, she's going to end up dealing with some hormones from the fact that the body was at one point producing a baby, and now the body isn't producing a baby anymore. So you still got the remnants of, the baby hormones, while at the same time, not actually at the end having a baby, you know. So, and then you got to deal with, obviously, if the person has any mental health issues, how it's going to end up having an impact. Is it going to end up causing them to go into a spiraling, crippling depression? Is it going to go ahead and cause them to, go back to specific detrimental, crutches, as far as coping goes? And then keep in mind, if they end up doing that because, obviously you had a part to play in it, you're going to end up getting blamed either which way for their lack of an ability to be able to go forward and start working on, the issues that they ended up going ahead and developing along the way because of the factor that they let those resentments build and build and build and build and build over a long period of time, and ultimately you ended up going ahead and impacting, the trajectory of their life, because ultimately they'll end up going ahead at first and thinking, you know, why did I end up going? What could have happened if, we didn't end up going, if we ended up having the baby? While at the same time, too, there's going to be the alternate factor of if she ends up having the baby, going to end up thinking, maybe I was too young for this. Maybe, there's more in life that I would have been able to experience if I hadn't gone and opened up my fucking legs for you, but at the same time, you could have stopped me from, making that decision. I needed some form of stability, and maybe if you would have been enough stability for me, I wouldn't have gone and, had that feeling of wanting to procreate. You are in a lose, 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 lose situation. So break out that wallet. If she is dead set and adamant on that abortion, you pay the entire cost for the abortion, even if you don't end up getting that $500 back. And think of the amount of money that you're going to end up saving from not having to pay child support for the next 18 fucking years. All because of the factor that, ultimately, during a point where the person is acting immaturely, they wanted to go ahead and make a decision like this, not understanding the gravity of it. And don't get me wrong, she probably in the back of her mind also understands the gravity and the permanence of, bringing a child into the world that for the next 18 years is going to rely on her. And ultimately, obviously, when somebody feels like they can't even rely on themselves, that thought is a scary thought. And obviously, losing a sense of freedom. So, If that is the route that she wants to go, understand you can't stop her from going that route. All right? And ultimately, afterwards, if you think that there's going to be any legitimate foundation for the relationship to be able to thrive afterwards, it's not. That's a traumatic experience, not only for her, but for you. Nonetheless, is going to impact every aspect and dynamic of your relationship. Whether or not you want to accept it. It doesn't matter how cold, callous, emotionless that you may end up coming off and seeming. At the end of the day, there is nobody that has been in the situation that comes out of it completely unfazed and intact.